Hi there, thanks for tuning in. My name is Rajesh Krishnan and I'm from Acolade. Today I wanted to talk to you about some of the pitfalls and some of the tips and tricks in terms of adopting human capital management from Oracle. Now, you may be a customer who's looking at implementing Oracle HCM, or you are a customer who already implemented Oracle human capital management. And what from here on? You have patches and new functionalities coming in every quarter, or you might be a customer who's taking a release every month. So what happens from here on? What are some of the typical steps that people would need to consider going forward? So in today's presentation, I've got a PowerPoint presentation that I'll run you through, and I've got a real life demo as well. Now let's come back to the presentation, and here, as you can see, you're a typical customer who adopted some of the modules from Oracle, say for example Global HR covering core HR, you've got Workforce Directory, Workforce Predictions and so on. And you may also have some modules from Talent, some Workforce Reward, covering compensation and benefits, payroll, the sales compensations and so on. And maybe you have also taken some modules from Workforce Management in terms of time and labor, absence management, and a few others as you can see on the screen. So you are the typical customer who got all of these modules or some of these modules. Now, when an Oracle update happens, there are a few things that you need to be aware of. Typically Oracle has got a release once every quarter. So you've got about 4 releases coming in a year. Apart from that, there's also planned releases every month. So if you're a customer who's got a fair few issues with the product and you've got monthly releases coming in, so that's another monthly cycle that you need to consider. So some of these issues is more of an ongoing task, I would say, from a monthly basis and from a quarterly basis. Now, some of the typical tasks that a customer would take on with the product is basically you would do a first cut review of the changes that's coming in, do a complete impact analysis, go through a prioritization of low, moderate, and high. You do a fair bit of planning on how to take on that new software, what happens and when a new functionality comes in, how does it fit into the existing functionality. So there's a fair bit of planning that needs to be involved. A lot of testing. Now, testing is very, very, very important to make sure that all your configuration is working as per the requirement, not just the existing one, but also the new ones that you've just adopted. And finally, going live. So going live in a very successful manner. So if you look at this from an overall perspective, it's an ongoing activity quarter on quarter, and in some instances it's a monthly activity as well. So as you can see, there's a fair bit going on that screen. It's a very busy screen there. Moving on, from a time and effort perspective, what we have seen in our experience is that the customer has to have a full a full-time employee who looks after your whole testing. So there could be a test manager, or it could be a HCM consultant who's got a good understanding of the implementation and also what are the testing pitfalls that he or she would need to look into. So some of the tasks that person would look at is review the release documentation, perform impact assessment, manage a project plan, very, very important when it comes to making end-to-end ensuring that the timeframes are being met and so on. Communicate the change with the business, very, very important task again. And then of course manage a strong testing repository. And from an effort perspective, like I mentioned, it's a full-time or a dedicated resource. And when it comes to existing functionality and the regression that happens, so the person needs to participate in the impact assessment, perform tests, of course, identify and report the issues and get them sorted. Now, when it comes to the effort, it's about 50 to 60 man hours from our experience from a quarter-on-quarter from a time frame perspective. Now, moving on from a new functionality adoption perspective, again, there's a fair few tasks there. Communicate change and training plan to your business stakeholders. Create a test plan, perform tests, and identify and report the issue. So very similar to your existing functionality and regression, but again, when it comes to new functionality, a lot of planning that needs to go in. So from our perspective, it takes about roughly 2 to 3 man months based on the functionality that the customer is taking on. So overall, as you can see, there's a lot of effort that needs to go in to keep your HCM up and running in a very successful manner. So, like, just to reiterate, about 50 to 60 man hours per quarter has to be spent on ensuring that your existing functionality works, and about 2 to 3 man months worth of effort when it comes to adopting new functionality. So, from a customer's perspective, that's an ongoing activity and a lot happening there. So, what we have seen is, how do we help address this situation is through bots. Now, in here, I would like to introduce you Stacey Bot, which is basically a bot that our engineers have developed. So what these bots do is basically learn and your business flows, your system transactions, data, and perform exactly that task as it had learned that particular business flow. Bots identify these errors and report on these errors. Works on all human capital management formats, whether it's web, mobile, Android, and also iOS. And any number of bots can be deployed from anywhere in parallel. So it can be on your cloud, on your on-prem, and so on. So as you can see, I've got a few devices here today. I've got my iPad, I've got my iPhone here, and I've got my Android device as well. So all these devices together is what my demo is going to be today in terms of testing. So I've got a use case as well. So a use case that we're going to be looking at today is from a web format. I'm going to have a create job, create position, and create grade. So these are your typical testing functions that you would look at, when it comes to regression. And from a mobile perspective, I'll be running an employee hire and onboarding on an Android device today. So let's look at the real life demo for it. So for that, I'm going to kick off a script here, which basically runs the web format. So as I said, in the web, I'm going to be showing you how the testing of a position, a job, and a grade. So here, as you can see, the bot is just going to pick up the scripts and run it. So it's got a set of predefined steps that it's going to run through, and then it's going to kick off each step by step. So Stacey is going to pick on the testing for you on your behalf. So basically, it's going to go onto an Oracle HCM web instance. It's going to log in, put in the password, and then it's going to do the transactions exactly what it's been told. So here, as you can see, it's going to bring up a position and it's going to create that position. It's going to run that position, test that position has been successfully created, and then it's going to move on to creating the jobs, grades, and so on. So while that's happening, I can also kick off on my iPad and my mobile device here. So while web testing is happening, we can also kick that off in parallel. So let me do that for you and show you how that works. So I'm going to kick off the mobile version. And just to remind you, on the mobile version, like I said, I'm going to do a very important functionality today, which is showing you how to create an employee or onboard an employee. So as you can see, Stacey is already picked up on the Android and the iPhone, and it's going to log in as the same user, and then it's going to start creating an employee. And mind you, you can create any type of employees. It can be full-time employee, part-time employee, casual, and so on. So as you can see on the screen on the left, I've got my web version running, and the screen on my right, I've got my Android testing happening. So as you can see, there's a lot of testing that's happening in parallel. And while that's happening, I'm here sitting and talking to you. As you can see, I'm not touching the screen or the keyboard or anything. It's just Stacey is just going step by step to ensure that testing is happening, and a lot of validation is happening behind the scenes as well. So this test I think runs for about a couple of minutes. So as you can see, this if you were the customer, you can just kick this off at 5 p.m. before you leave for the day, once you've got your functionality into your test environment, and then come back the next day and basically check what Stacey's reported back on, and take action as appropriate. So the action could be, there could be some failures, there could be, and you could probably look at some of those failures, why things have failed, and so on. So we look at a report at the end of the testing. So I'll just go back to my testing here and see whether that testing is completed or not. So it's still going on. As you can see, there's my web version is going on, and also I've got tests happening in the Android version as well. So while that's happening, I can also pick up what the report would look like at the end of the day. So I'll go to the reporting, go to my mobile test report. So this is how the report looks. Basically, the test is complete, and I've got all my tests in my mobile has passed. Mobile version has passed, and as you can see, an employee has been created. So successfully created, great. Now, if I go back to my testing status for my web, so in the web version, I had about 4 test cases running. In fact, I had 3 test cases running: position creation, job creation, and also the managed grades. So as you can see, the position and the job have passed. And from a grades perspective, unfortunately, that has failed. And I can go back and check the failure. So if I was a typical business user, I would come the next day and check, what failures, as I mentioned before. And it tells me that the grades have failed for some reason, and it's got a technical failure there. And this is what we need to really pick up. And the earlier we pick up that error, the better and the faster that they can get a fix back from the development. It could be from the vendor, or it could be an internal configuration issue which your internal technical team can fix. So basically, that's the beauty of having bots, help you do the testing, and it can free up some of your most important consultants' time from the business. So if I were to go back to my presentation here, some of the benefits that you see: peace of mind. Now, you'd be a stakeholder there looking at, okay, you've got 2 weeks to test, and a lot of test cases to run through. So you have the peace of mind that someone like a Stacey Bot is basically testing all your monthly patches, your functionality, and your quarterly patches, and it's ensuring that they're error-free. Frees up a lot of your time from your business stakeholder time, and you have more and more time to do more creative and fun activity, and leave all your mundane tasks to someone like a bot, like Stacey, for instance. So I leave you with a very important quote from Sir Richard Branson: "Your employees are your best and biggest assets. Look after them, make sure that they're happy and doing the right thing that they've been hired for, and then hence your customers become happy as well." So thank you for watching today, and if you need any information, please do get in touch with me. My email is rajeshk@acolade.com.au. More than happy to get your feedback, and more than happy to help you with technology like Stacey Bot and so on. Thank you very much.